welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode. I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio. We're talking baseball, kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there, across from me, as you cannot see on YouTube, unfortunately, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing very well today. All of a sudden, there are 12 days till opening day.
Yeah, just like
12
that.
Days. It's almost like yesterday the lockout was happening. We didn't know there was going to be one or not.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it was the off season was so terrible and so good at the same time.
Yep.
like we had an awesome, between, third week of November to, December 1st, awesome. Just a lot of action. Then 99 days clearly of nothing but frustration. And then a couple more weeks of just great transactions.
Yeah.
Franchise changing moves that are happening. And then boom, surprise, after the lockout ends, it's like, oh, we got baseball in 4 weeks. That's awesome.
It's almost like during the lockout we just skipped that part of the offseason.
Yeah.
It honestly feels like December just went to mid-March.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we simulated.
Yeah. But we didn't. Those 99 days happened.
Right. Exactly.
But it's like we didn't have to think about anything. It was just especially for the 43 days where the owners just refused to negotiate with the players. It was just there were literally nothing happened.
Yeah.
Not for better, but still.
Yeah. What a weird off season. But man, there were some great. It's like I don't know. Not to make a football reference. I know we're baseball people, but it's like Kurt Warner's career in that, he had a great beginning, won an MVP and a Super Bowl, then kind of just faded out with these random teams, and then went to the Cardinals and went to the Super Bowl again randomly. I'm trying to think of what the baseball example of that would be.
The first person I can think of is Raul Ibanez.
Yeah, Raul Ibanez.
Maybe that's not the best one. Maybe Buster Posey.
Yeah, maybe Buster Posey. Yeah, especially with his last season for sure.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year, and then his third year MVP. Was decent, but kind of out of the picture. Especially he wasn't in the playoffs, which
maybe with accolades, Barry Bonds. He won a bunch of MVPs early in his career, and then he won a bunch of late in his career.
True.
There was just none sprinkled in the middle there.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah, I think we're getting good with it. Yeah, with this reference.
We're getting closer.
We're getting closer here.
Eventually, after the pod, we'll just be like, oh my God, there was that one.
There was that. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, nothing coming to mind currently.
No, me neither.
Who just had. Because if you fade out in the middle of your career, you're kind of done for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Teams won't give you a chance like that. But anyway, so there were some more deals that happened over the past week. Some actually happened before we released the episode, but not before we recorded the episode last week. The biggest free agent out there signed, and not how we expected him to sign at all.
No.
Carlos Correa goes to the Twins on I don't know if it's a
3-year deal with opt-outs after every year.
I don't know if it's technically a 1-year deal with player options or a 3-year deal with opt-outs. Either way,
it's going to be a 1-year deal.
It's probably going to be a 1-year deal, and he's getting paid $35.1 million each year of this deal.
I'd say unless something drastic happens, knock on wood, he gets hurt, he underperforms, Maybe he'll stay in Minnesota and just take that extra $35 million for another year. But I think what Correa is doing with this deal is he's betting on himself to try again in free agency next year. Like, I'm surprised that every team just didn't give him what he wanted, but he's going to try again.
Right. Yeah, very true. And, it makes me wonder, like, how teams are kind of evaluating Carlos Correa. And, when he signed, naturally I was like, maybe I'll look at some stats for the podcast. And I'll be honest, I think it was a little underwhelming to me, like, because we've kind of hyped him up, and he is a very good player.
Yeah.
But I do understand not necessarily trying to give him $350 million. Like, if you look at, it's funny because he's one of those guys where, like, his Baseball Reference WAR and his Fangraphs WAR can tell a completely different story.
Yeah, because
like,
defensive run saved.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, last year he led all position players in B WAR, and then in F WAR I think he was like 8th. And, he's had his injury troubles. Luckily for him, the past 2 years he hasn't run into that, so that's good for him. But I think what's his like lifetime OPS? I mean, even last year, 850 OPS. That's a solid offensive season.
Mm-hmm. So 134 weighted runs created plus.
Yeah, 134 weighted runs created plus. But I get why maybe you're not sure on giving him.
That is 24th. That is 24th in baseball.
Yeah, I get why maybe you're not sure giving him $350 million or something like that. And even with the defensive stuff, defensive runs saved really likes him, but since 2018, which is when he really started popping off defensively, or like, I don't know if you use that term for defense.
Sure.
When he really started mastering the craft at the
ARR refuses to be hip.
Yeah. The mastering the craft of the shortstop position, which was when 2018 he had 22 outs above average, which I'm assuming would lead the league. And then, so since then, he's only 5th in outs above average. So it's not like and everyone ahead of him is shortstops. So, it's not like he's a top 3 defensive shortstop. I think he is extremely valuable, but I do understand why, like, for example, the Red Sox got, Trevor Story for $22 million a year-ish.
I think it was 23 mil.
120 or 20. I think
23.3 mil.
23.3 mil per year. And I was looking at Story and Correa, and I don't know. I think they're a little more similar than I think recency bias maybe had us separating them a little more than they should have been. And I understand why the Red Sox were more in on Story than Correa, but nonetheless, Correa will probably be back on that free agent market soon. And I mean, from another side of it,
we also have to remember. Sorry to interrupt, but like, he is also a Scott Boras client, is he not?
Let's take a look at the BRF page. I'm right on it. Where is
Never mind. No, he's not.
The Legacy Agency.
He's not.
Weird.
I, for some reason, thought he was a Boras client. Maybe he hires Scott Boras now.
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be the move, right?
It's like, how do I only get $105 million from this?
I mean, he definitely had offers for more. Did you see that the Orioles were throwing in offers for him?
Yeah.
That was
they got
cool.
this. They got the space.
they got more. Yeah, they got the space and then some.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think we should also be thinking about, like, because the Twins are kind of like seen as the redheaded stepchild of this, of like, it's kind of like just a temporary home for him. But it especially with the expanded playoffs. I know it's only one team per league, but with the expanded playoffs and the fact that they're still only 2 years removed from being back-to-back division champions, I kind of like what I have to see with the Twins, especially offensively. Pitching wise, it's a weird thing, but offensively, I really like that lineup, especially now.
Yeah, I mean, we were going through it last episode when we were talking about them. Funny how we were talking about how homegrown their entire offense is, and they bring in one of the biggest free agents on the market.
Right. And they bring in it's funny that they had Simmons last year and Correa this year, so it's like, oh, you liked Andrelton Simmons? What if you gave
What
him
if he could hit?
What if he could hit? What if he was 30% above average offensively
instead of 50% below average?
Yeah.
That is, wow, what an upgrade that is.
Yeah. Yeah, good good for them.
I cannot believe the Yankees did not get any of the free agent shortstops.
It's so
I thought that was the biggest lock of the offseason. Was like, well, the Yankees will get one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
Yeah, even heading into the lockout when we're like, oh, the Yankees haven't done anything, but we know they're gonna get Correa or Story after the lockout ends, and no, I mean, I don't know, maybe next year, but still.
And Brian Cashman was like, oh, you guys like Correa? How about listen to this? We got his defense.
Yeah.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, welcome to the team.
Yeah, and he's probably faster.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he can play, and he can catch.
Yeah, and he can catch. This is a true utility guy. We got a shortstop and a catcher. Where are you gonna find that?
Yeah. Well, did you see that exchange yesterday between Lindsey Adler and Keith Olbermann?
Oh no. If Keith Olbermann's involved,
So do you know who Lindsey Adler is?
The Athletic Yankees reporter.
Correct. So she did a feature story about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. So the headline on Twitter, her caption was, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is the only player in modern baseball history to play at least 50 MLB games at shortstop and catcher on the Yankees' new shortstop's nonlinear path through the player development. Yeah, it's accurate. And Keith Olbermann just has to chime in here. And what I'm trying to find this tweet. He goes, this sounds like something you would say, but not as condescending. He goes, Mo Berg, who played until 1939, did it. Given there are people alive today who knew him and even saw him play, and he was a teammate of Ted Williams, the definition of modern baseball history is a little flawed here. So, first of all, the literal lead of Lindsey's story is about him. He didn't play 50 games at each position. I think he played 30 at one of them.
Yeah.
So the reason, and Keith was going off about how, literally, I'm not kidding. The very first paragraph, baseball's most well-known shortstop catcher hybrid was Mo Berg.
Yeah.
That's the first sentence.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's too funny.
Yeah, and I believe he did not play 50 games at one of the two positions.
Right. Yeah. That's
so. Keith did not read the article.
Okay. Yeah, and now I'm curious as to when Mo Berg's career spanned. Mo Berg, 1923 to 1939. I think people
sort of see the definition of the modern game differently.
Post integration.
Yeah.
It's not
mound being a different height.
Yeah.
I get that the modern era started in 1900 according to Baseball Reference.
But they named it that in 1907.
Yeah. Let's not act like baseball was the same in 1900 as it is in even 1939.
Yeah.
That is such a weird way of stating it.
Yeah, it is very weird. It's people were alive when he was playing, so clearly there's a 99-year-old out there who was alive for his debut.
Who definitely does not remember it, and probably, if you ask, could not explain any time they remember his playing days.
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
Negative 4.6 B-WAR, by the way.
Yeah.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has more than that.
So he did play at least 50 games at each position. However, it was so long ago.
It's pre-integration, I think.
Yeah, it's pre-integration. That is so. I'm not, and not only that, but Lindsey literally mentions him as the very first player in the story.
Oh my God!
And
yeah.
Keith had to chime in there.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, the king of condescension, Keith Olbermann, strikes again.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this Twins projected lineup. Leading off. Byron Buxton, love to see it. Hopefully he plays more than 61 games. Luis Arias, who he's not really a guy who's going to get extra base hits, but he'll get on base.
He will get on base
at a 350 clip or something like that. Carlos Correa, as we previously mentioned. Jorge Polanco, who was actually the clutch king last year, even though you wouldn't know it by how the Twins performed, but
Yeah.
WPA master. Miguel Sano, exit velocity king. Max Kepler,
German
he's
king.
German, yeah.
He's German. Yeah. Had a bit of a down year last year, but still a very good player.
Still very good player. Like, you're in a solid spot if he's in your 6 hole, which the Twins have him at, are projected to have him at. And Gary Sanchez, people complain about him a lot, but he's a solid for a catcher, very solid offensively. And then Alex Kirilloff, we know what's going to happen.
Breakout king.
We know what's going to happen with Alex Kirilloff. And then Gio Urshela, who
had a bit of a down year.
Had a bit of a down year, but I think was still above average offensively. So yeah, I mean that's a lineup you like to have. I'm starting rotation. There's a lot to be desired.
Breakout. There's a lot of X factors in that rotation for sure.
Yeah, the Sonny Gray edition, we both really like.
Did you see that a Foolish Baseball put Bailey Ober on his pitchers he likes?
No, I didn't.
To be fair, his name is Bailey.
That's true.
But I mentioned Bailey Ober as my player to watch, and I got some support.
Yeah, well, it kind of altered how I might think with So yeah, one of the pitchers he liked was someone I might have been looking at for this episode.
Oh, interesting. Me too.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe I'll stave off of this. Maybe I'll go a different direction.
Okay, maybe we're thinking about the same guy, and I also used this person.
Yeah. There we go.
Disclaimer: I made my picks months ago, so
right.
I did not see his video and be like, yeah, I'm going to talk about that guy.
Right. Yeah. We're full of original thought here at Above Replacement Radio. All right. Anything more on the Correa deal?
No, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway was that, first of all, I think the craziest thing is, the fact that the Twins ended up with him, no one was predicting that at all. No one was reporting that the Twins were close. It just happened.
Yeah.
Also, it happened at, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I woke up at, 7 the next day, and I was like, am I dreaming? I was still in that half asleep mode when you first wake up, and I was like, I'm not seeing Correa to the Twins.
Yeah.
But, any team could have gotten him. Legitimately, any team that just desperately needs a shortstop and wants to win this year, they could have used him as a stopgap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm looking at the Yankees particularly.
Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, with the Yankees, I was looking at – because, they've been kind of talking about, their luxury tax stuff. And I was, looking, when are some contracts ending – soon? And I don't know, there's really not much. I mean, Aaron Judge is going to be a free agent next year, but they have to re-sign him.
Yeah. And
then you have Cole and Stanton around basically forever. Cole, that's good money to spend. Stanton, maybe you wish you didn't make that deal so you could make better deals along the way. But yeah, I'm wondering when the Yankees are going to feel like they can go out and get another big free agent signing. I mean, I guess
they have another chance at Correa next year, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we are holding them to a bit of a high standard. They didn't sign anyone for, I think, over $100 million last year, but they signed LeMahieu for $90 million.
And that doesn't look good right now.
Yeah, that doesn't look good right now. And then, 2 off seasons ago, they obviously signed Garrett Cole for $324 million, which was quite the deal. And, he's kind of living up to it right now. But, yeah, so Carlos Correa to the Twins. We'll see how long that goes. It'll be weird if the Twins just absolutely stink and he gets traded at the deadline.
That would be hilarious. How wild is it that we're living in a world where the Twins use the Yankees for a salary dump so that they could sign Carlos Correa?
Oh, yeah. We forgot to mention that.
How wild is that? The Josh Donaldson trade, the Yankees took all of that contract, which Josh Donaldson's still a very good player. He's going to be, he fits right into that Yankee lineup. No doubt about it. But the fact that the Twins just used the Yankees for a salary dump so they could get the player that the Yankees wanted.
Yeah, it's really
a wild concept.
Yeah, it's really just a big brother moment there.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate switching of the
baton.
The tides.
The
tides have turned.
The tides have turned.
How the turntables.
Yes. Yeah, because Donaldson's getting paid, I think
$50 million over 2 years.
Yeah, $50 million over 2 years.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Yeah. I mean, what did the Yankees drop with Sanchez and Urshela? Maybe $12 million? I don't know.
With Sanchez and probably something around that.
Probably, yeah. I would have to imagine. So maybe $12 million from
Kind of
them.
Falefa's. He does have 4 years of service time, so he is ARB eligible.
Yeah.
Let me see. So Donaldson is getting paid $25 million in AAV, $25,750, and then kind of Falefa's making $4.7 million right now. So that's about $30 million the Yankees are taking on this year alone. The Twins, on the other hand, are paying Gary Sanchez $9 million and Gio Urshela $6.5 million.
Okay, so underestimated.
Yeah, so the Twins are saving about $15 million per year in this deal, and that saves up a lot of money to get Correa.
Yep, very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, an extremely surprising moment in the off season. Nothing anyone predicted in terms of what Correa's deal would be and who it would be with.
Yes.
For sure. But a guy who had a more predictable outcome was Trevor Story, who signed for 6 years, $140 million with the Boston Red Sox, our favorite team. And yeah, so apparently he's going to be going to second base. And, it's been discussed like a good amount that, Xander Bogaerts has an opt-out after 2022. And, it's not a guarantee of having him. And, you don't know if Chaim Bloom is going to be trying to dish out money to him, more long term, because Chaim Bloom, he'll spend his money, clearly with the Story deal, he'll spend his money where he'll spend his money, but he's very economical. So yeah, we'll see about that. I'm trying to see what Bogaerts will have left on his deal after 2022.
He will have, I'm looking at it right now. After 2022, he will have 4 years, 3 years, $60 million with a vesting option for 2026. So that's $20 million a year.
And he'll be heading into his age 30 season.
Yeah, so he can probably get more than $20 million.
And and he'll definitely be able to get more than $60 million as an overall arching deal.
Yeah, and he's a Boris guy.
Yeah,
for sure, for real this time. He's actually a Boris guy.
Yeah,
so he's 100%. Like assuming nothing like drastic happens this year, he's opting out of that deal, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, and he's a guy where it's kind of hard to evaluate him because he had 4 point his Fangraphs really likes his defense. I don't know why. I don't know why. Just looking at him.
Story or Bogaerts?
Bogaerts.
Really? I thought he had -5 defensive runs saved to short last year.
I feel like that's independent from Fangraphs and Baseball Reference. I feel like that's just that's
What stats are you looking at then?
Defensive runs above average.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Xander Bogaerts Fangraphs. Yeah, last year 7.7 defensive runs above average. Yeah, he hasn't. The only time he had negative defensive runs above average was 2014.
Wow.
So that it's weird because also when I was looking up stats and seeing F4 leaderboards in the past 3-4 years, Xander Bogaerts was top 6 or 7, which was weird to me. 'Cause I don't consider him like that. I'm a Red Sox fan. I don't consider him like that. But speaking of those rankings, some Trevor Story stats for those who don't know exactly his impact over the past few years. Since the start of 2018, he ranks 11th in F4 and 7th in BSR. BSR is a base running statistic that kind of measures your value on the bases. It doesn't measure just your stolen bases or like how many times you get caught stealing.
Haven't the Red Sox been like terrible on the bases in the last few years as well? Like even in 2018, I feel like
they were
bad.
Yeah, and like I think was Christian Vasquez. Did he end up being their stolen bases leader last year?
I think so.
Yeah. So
the Red Sox were 21st in the league in BSR last year.
Right.
And over the last like few years,
which is weird because they had a solid offense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trevor Story 7th in all of baseball in BSR in the last 4 years. It's a base running statistic where it measures your value, not just stolen bases, not just caught stealing, but taking an extra base on a single, scoring from home on a double, scoring from second on a single, and blah blah, scoring from first on a double, things like that. Fun stuff. So he's top 10 in that, and also fun little. I don't know if it's a how about that, but since the start of 2018, he's the only player with 100+ home runs, 80+ stolen bases, and 5+ D-WAR.
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. So he gives you the power, he gives you the base running, and he gives you the defense for sure. Although Statcast had him weird last year, but Baseball Reference and Fangraphs didn't, so I feel like that kind of cancels out. But yeah, defensive evaluation can be very weird. But anyway, what were your thoughts on the deal?
I think it was a deal that needed to be made for the Red Sox. Like, I was very confused by the deal where they traded Hunter Renfroe for Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, still are.
Yeah, like, Jackie is, obviously he's a former player in the organization. He won a World Series. He was an ALCS MVP. So there's no doubt that he had a strong impact during his time in Boston beforehand. But, he's struggled offensively throughout the last few years. He's great at defense, but they traded Hunter Renfroe, who was great at offense. Not the best at fielding, but had a very good arm. Just, equal to Jackie's, if not better. And he's cheaper.
Yeah.
So that deal was kind of weird, and I figured the only answer to that deal was like, this has to mean like we're getting some sort of replacement, and Story was the answer. So he was probably the last big free agent that was out there. The Red Sox really needed to get him, or else the offseason would have just looked really bad on Heimblum and the rest of the organization. So it was important that they got this deal done, and I think that overall with value, it's going to be a strong deal for them.
Oh yeah, for sure, because Story, if you just look at Story's numbers from last year, it might be a little underwhelming, but that was not representative of what he could do.
He got BABIP'd, I believe.
That and like the Rockies were in a bad spot. He even said at the trade deadline, he was like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they trade me? By the way, Rockies, I think now with the new CBA, they don't get anything from the Story.
Yep, yeah, which is awesome. We don't even have to give up a draft pick. Well, they didn't even give him the qualifying offer anyway. Or no, they did.
Yeah, they gave him they were smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just man, the Rockies really screwed up there.
What was his? I wonder what his stats were after the deadline.
Oh,
he had an 899 OPS.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, that was when the Rockies' offense just absolutely popped off for whatever reason.
Wait, from May 1st on, the Rockies had a better record than the Padres.
Yeah.
Which is probably the funniest stat of all of last season.
It's hilarious.
Like, that's 80% of the season in which a team that was projected to have 100 losses had a better record than a team that was projected to have 100 wins.
Yeah. It's too good. But with the Story deal, also what you have to like about it is it sets up a lot of security for the Red Sox, because you have now 2 shortstops on the team. Xander Bogaerts may be out after 2022. I feel like the way Heimblum operates, he hasn't had too many long-standing relationships with these players. Like, he hasn't drafted them, hasn't signed them. He came in after 2019, so he's not going to be as heartbroken to let Xander Bogaerts go, and he knows Story, is at the same level or a higher level than Xander Bogaerts. So, I think he'll have no problem letting him go. If that's the case, if they keep both around,
that's awesome.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. But and then after 2022, if Xander Bogaerts goes, you'll have Trevor Story, and then, I think, not to go too far into the future, but 2024 you'll have Marcelo Meyer maybe knocking at the door, maybe playing a little bit of second too, and maintaining the quality of the middle infield for the Boston Red Sox.
That's right.
So, fun stuff. Yeah, I really like the deal because I feel like Story, if you line up Story and Correa since like 2019, 2018, it's pretty similar. And Story was a lot cheaper just because of how each of them did last year.
Yes. I think another thing to note is, I'm very interested to see if and when they make the change where they put Story at short and Bogaerts at second. Because Bogaerts has said he's open to playing second but prefers to stay at short.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. He's played short his entire career, and he's, I think, is he the longest tenured player on the team?
It would be. He was the only guy on the
2013 team.
Only guy on the 2013 team.
Yeah, he is. He's the longest tenured player on the team.
Because Jackie left for a year, so I don't know if that would necessarily
I don't think that counts.
Count. Yeah. Even though he was on the 2013 opening day roster.
Yes.
That was funny. Anyway, were you gonna say something more?
Just that. It's gonna be interesting to see if and when they make that change.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Outs above average had Story at -7 last year, which was surprising to me, but I don't.
Yeah.
It might just be a blip in the whatever, but Xander Bogaerts has been in the negatives all years except for 2017 when he had 2 outs above average. He's not the worst, but he's not above average whatsoever as a defensive shortstop, and it might help the team to go to second, as we've discussed. The Red Sox had the worst general outs above average and infield outs above average last year, and it kind of hurt them because there were a couple pitchers that had a significant difference in ERA and expected ERA, and also ERA and FIP, most notably Eduardo Rodriguez and also Nathaniel Lowe.
Yep. I think Evaldi had the highest BABIP among qualified pitchers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Rodriguez was not qualified. He had 157 innings or something like that. So it kind of solves that issue. The bad infield defense, maybe not completely solves it, but makes it significantly better. And yeah, he provides on the offensive side. I don't think, OPS plus and weighted runs created plus wise is probably going to be similar, but obviously the non-park adjusted statistics might take a little bit of a dive, but it's not, it's not going to be as big to worry about.
Not with that, but I think if he was going to leave Colorado, I think he did leave for a good ballpark still. A lot of his, I think on MLB Network they did a spray chart to see how many of his home runs in Coors would have been home runs at Fenway. I think there was one that was taken away because it was a line drive home run, but there was also just a lot of fly balls that died on the warning track at Coors that would have been over the monster.
Yeah, right, and even with the altitude, there's still the Coors Field has a very deep outfield because they know about that altitude, so it might not affect home run totals as much as you may predict.
But extra base hits.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at, because any line drive that goes 300 feet is probably a double at Fenway. That might be a fly out in Coors. Any long fly ball that dies at the warning track at Coors, off the monster, maybe even over it, or in the seats.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, any more thoughts on the Trevor Story deal?
Nope.
One thing I forgot to mention on our walk over here, Nick Castellanos, that deal wasn't completely done when we last recorded, but it kind of happened that day. 5 years, $100 million to the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
That's a interesting team for sure.
It's gonna be. I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's just hit some. Let's just get some extra base hits we're gonna have everyone's ERA is gonna be a full run above their FIP. We're gonna have
They just want Aaron Nola to die.
Yeah, they're gonna have negative. They're going to have like negative 100 outs above average, but, a team 820 OPS.
I've never seen a team more thankful for the universal DH.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
It's like you're telling me we don't have to put both Schwarber and Castellanos in the outfield.
Oh, my
One
God.
of them just has to hit.
You'd have to put Harper in center field if you didn't have the DH. Quite the team structure. I should go to the projected lineup here.
It's fun.
It's just it's
like, as an outsider, I'm so excited for this team.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from them. I'm definitely not expecting them to win their division necessarily. But you know what? Let's just have some fun with this team, right?
Yeah. All right. So leading off, you got Schwarber in the DH role. Batting second, Nick Castellanos at left field. Batting third, Bryce Harper, defending MVP. Batting cleanup, JT Realmuto, probably the best catcher in baseball. Batting fifth, Rhys Hoskins. Sixth, Gene Segura. Seventh, Didi Gregorius. Third or eighth at third base, Alec Boehm, and then ninth, Matt Vierling.
Hey, don't sleep on Matt Vierling, by the way.
Yeah.
If you look at it, 2021, he played 34 games, had 77 plate appearances, 324, 364, 479, 843, 126 OPS plus.
Nice.
So don't sleep on him.
It is funny, seeing names of, because in MLB The Show, I do Road to the Show, and I'm in 2030 right now because I've been, playing it for a while, and you've run into my guy's on the Mets now, and I've been facing Matt Vierling a lot.
Yep.
Because he he came up and
in 2026.
Yeah.
Dude, I did a franchise with Cleveland in MLB The Show 2016, and I think Bobby Bradley was the 2020 AL MVP. Hence why he was my player to watch on Cleveland in 2021 as soon as I saw he was actually coming up.
Oh yeah, if you think Wander Franco is good now, wait till he wins 2028 AL MVP for the Blue Jays for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, why would the Rays ever trade him so early?
It is very fun seeing just all the random stuff that happens in MLB The Show. Chris Bryant to the Rockies feels like MLB The Show.
Yeah. I just had a duel with Shohei Ohtani on the Cubs. It's weird.
I did a Road to the Show once. Or no, I did a franchise once where Ronald Acuna Jr. was on the Pirates.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it was in free agency too.
Yeah, that's one where you're the time traveler joke where you move a chair and then that's what happens. It's the Pirates have a $250 million payroll.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, that's what they do. But yeah, anyway, back to Nick Castellanos.
Dude, I went this crazy franchise, right? In MLB The Show 15. Somehow Tony La Russa was the manager of the White Sox. No idea how that happened.
After being inducted into the Hall of Fame and being out of baseball for
a decade.
9-10 years, he is managing this really young developing team.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just
the craziest stuff happens in MLB The Show for sure. Obviously none of it would happen in real life.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, come back and watch this episode in 6 years when Ronald Acuna Jr.'s deal ends and he's on the Pirates.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Nick Castellanos, 5 years, $100 million. A fun little bit about him. He leads the league in doubles since 2017.
Yeah.
Fun.
I'm kind of upset that Castellanos did not sign a 9-year deal with the Royals.
Yes. If you don't know the meme, what are you doing?
You got to know the meme.
He's had 2 very significant home runs in that ballpark.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're the Royals broadcast and the team signs Nick Castellanos, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You got to start hiring random interns that are okay with having their reputation just ruined having them saying just horrible things and then apologizing when
Yeah.
Castellanos comes up to bat.
Exactly. You just give him like pension
Yeah.
and have them say terrible things on the air.
Yeah.
And just like every morning you have to like every game you have to like go to like the obituary from like the local paper.
Anytime a big Royals fan dies, it's like submit your obituary to
Yeah.
be read during a Castellanos
Yeah,
at bat.
yeah. Oh man.
Well, because that's what we could have had. That's what they took from us.
Yes, exactly. Dang Royals, you know. Oh my God, that's James.
I saw him walk by. I was kind of upset he didn't say hi.
I didn't recognize him with the facial hair.
No, I had badminton within the semester, bro.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. The hat and the facial hair threw him off. Shout out to James Lawless, formerly of Second Floor Mass.
Absolutely.
Years.
A fever dream.
Academic year 2019 to 2020.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, it's the Phillies are pretty fun. Yeah, you know, they might, you know, they went 82 and 80 last year. Maybe they'll be 83 and 79 this year. Who knows? I actually I can't hate on their starting rotation as much as usual.
No.
This year, It kind of depends for me on like what direction Kyle Gibson will go.
Also, Ranger Suarez, what?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that happens again, right?
Yeah, yeah. What do you have?
Like a 108 ERA
Yeah. What the heck?
in 100 innings pitched.
Yeah, that won't happen again. But if he can keep his ERA like below 3, that'll be fun. That'll be good.
He had a 1.36 ERA at 106 innings pitched.
Yeah.
Like, it made. Let me look at his like numbers of the runners in scoring position. His FIP was 2.72, which is still very good. Like, you can't just expect someone to actually have a 1.36 FIP unless you're Corbin Burns.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but yeah, a FIP under 2.7 or a FIP at 2.72 makes you think like, oh, this guy he'll be a quality.
Yeah,
he'll be a quality guy.
Did you see Bill James put him in his top 10 starting pitchers right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a little ambitious, but
Hold on, I gotta find his list. We'll keep going, but Bill James, like, very weird way to live his life, whereas he spent his entire life questioning, like, on a 100-year-old system of how to evaluate baseball players, and everyone told him he was wrong for so long, and then over the last, like, 10 years, people were like, you know what? No, this guy knows what he's talking about, and now he's just starting to say the craziest things, like he just learned nothing.
Man, that's too good.
I need to find his top 10 starting pitchers right now. It was an absolute wild ride.
That's funny.
Yeah, okay. Number 1, Max Scherzer. Number 2, Corbin Burns. Number 3, Max Fried.
Yeah.
Number 4, Walker Buehler. Number 5, Jacob deGrom.
Okay.
Number 6, Robbie Ray. Number 7, Garrett Cole. Number 8, Julio Urias. Number 9, Zach Wheeler. Number 10, Ranger Suarez.
Yeah, DeGrom number 5 is
Fried over deGrom.
Yeah.
And Cole. And Wheeler. Yeah. That's crazy. Woodruff not even in the top 10.
DeGrom had to get Cy Young votes last year, right?
I would hope so.
Like
That'd be brutal if he didn't.
You know, even though he only
It was 92 innings, yeah.
Yeah, he finished 9th in the Cy Young appropriately. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, having him at number 5.
Yep.
That's funny. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, Castellanos, he's, you know, I would expect a good offense from the Phillies. I should look at what their team OPS was last year, and then, like, that's only going to improve with the signings of Schwarber and Castellanos, I would assume.
Yeah, that team's going to rake. They're just going to not play defense.
Oh, that's weird. They had a 95 team OPS plus last year.
I mean, yeah, when you look at some of the lineups that rolled out later in this, like in midseason, like Alec Boehm was hitting 4th, I think, in some games.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, yeah, Real Muto, 110 OPS plus, which I guess it's a little under what he usually does, but still, like, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Rhys Hoskins, 129 OPS plus. McCutcheon 109. But yeah, Gregorius, Bohm, kind of.
Odubel Herrera was in the lineup regularly last year.
They kind of underperformed, but yeah, Harper, had an MVP season.
Yeah,
that surprises me. So yeah, we'll see how that lineup will be in 2022. The last signing we'll get into before our previews, more of an end of an era news thing.
Yeah.
Kenley Jansen signs with the Braves for a year, $16 million with a 2023 option for I think $16 million more.
Mm-hmm.
It surprised me. I always felt like the Dodgers were just gonna hold on to him for a while, especially he had a good season last year too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now it's just over, kind of unceremoniously.
Yeah, very shocking that he didn't just automatically go back to the Dodgers. What was his deal?
I think it was 1 year, $16 million with a 2023 option for $16 million.
I mean, I get the Dodgers are spending a lot of money, but I'm surprised they didn't go over that. Atlanta's got a very strong bullpen right now.
Yeah,
They have a really strong bullpen.
Like the Braves, they replaced Freeman greatly, and they're getting back Acuna this year. They're getting back, or I don't know if they'll get back Soroka. They might get back Soroka.
If they do, it'll probably be mid to late season. I hope they do.
Yeah, but also, was there another guy they're getting back in the rotation? Probably not, but
Huascar Yanoa, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I think I was thinking more Morton.
Well, yeah, they are getting Morton back.
They're getting Morton back, but
he was already going to be back. He
was already going to be back.
I love when a team wins a World Series and then just doesn't stay stagnant. They don't try to just bring all the guys back. They didn't bring back Jorge Soler. Not that that's necessarily a good thing. But I'm kind of surprised they didn't. But it's they're not clinging on to that. They're not just clinging on to what they had automatically.
Yeah, and they
because a lot of teams will do that, and it'll backfire. The Red Sox re-signing Steve Pearce.
Yeah,
it made sense at the time. Wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, yeah, not great at all. But yeah, they did bring back Eddie Rosario, which was which was a solid deal. But yeah, they didn't bring back Peterson.
They didn't bring back Peterson. They didn't bring back Soler.
Because they know they have Acuna coming back.
Yeah, and they have Ozuna coming back.
Yeah, and Ozuna coming back. So that'll fill out the outfield. Although, yeah, I guess Ozuna will be in the DH role.
He probably should be. They have him as a left fielder, and they have Alex Dickerson as DH because they don't have Acuna back in the lineup immediately. I don't
true.
think he's probably not coming back until what's his Let me see what the injury report is according to Fangraphs for.
I would guess he's on the 15. I think it's 15 day.
It said it says expected back in early May, so that's good.
They also got Alex Dickerson, which I didn't realize.
I said they have him as DH.
Oh yeah, my bad.
It's all right.
But yeah, that bullpen, as you mentioned, yeah. As we're looking at the, I didn't even see they got Colin McHugh either.
Dude, he got a $4 million deal.
That's crazy.
I don't know how the Braves keep doing this, where they just get extremely team-friendly contracts for really good players.
For a guy who has never been on the Braves either.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah, dude, he got a 1 year, $4 million deal, and he's arguably a top 20 reliever in baseball. Yeah,
maybe we'll get into him more next year, or next episode when we preview the Braves. But Colin McHugh, last year, 1.55 ERA, 2.12 FIP, 10.4 strikeouts per nine, 1.7 walks per nine. Only 3 home runs allowed in 64 innings pitched.
That's $4 million.
$4 million, yeah. I know, and yeah, I guess, yeah, last year, 2019 it wasn't great.
Why didn't the Phillies get him? If they're so the Phillies will spend money and they'll get just any reliever that moves.
Yeah.
How did they not get Colin McHugh? Same with the Angels. How did McHugh go to a team that already has a good bullpen for that price?
Yeah, I'm assuming what's Corey Knable's contract? contract.
The Phillies got Brad Hand.
Yeah, the Knebel signed for 2.5 times more than McHugh signed for.
And McHugh is probably twice as good.
Yes.
If not more.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that is weird. That is very, very weird.
Angels just got any reliever they can. I mean, they got Raisel Iglesias, which they needed to, but like Ryan Tepera, Aaron Loop, Archie Bradley. They just added a bunch of random guys.
Yeah, they did very Angels things.
Like, how did they not get Colin McHugh for that price if they could have?
Right, exactly.
That would have actually that would have been outside of Iglesias, that would have been the best bullpen piece that they had.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the top here: Jansen, Will Smith, Colin McHugh, Tyler Matzek.
AJ Minter.
They probably won't even have to get.
And they have Kirby Yates coming back at some point too.
Right. Yeah. Like, they probably will, but they probably won't have to get bullpen help at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very good position you're putting yourself in for another potential World Series run. Mm-hmm. You gotta love to see it from a Atlanta angle. Sure.
From a Kenley Jansen standpoint, like, we're not gonna be able to do it until he retires fully. But like, he's a top. I think he could probably be like a top 3 reliever of all time when it's all said and done.
Potentially, yeah.
Like, when you look at his numbers, I think he is over more strikeouts per 9 career than Billy Wagner.
Right.
Only he's down 200 innings. Like, if he goes until he's like in his late 30s, like, he's a Hall of Famer without a doubt.
Yeah, 350 saves, career saves. A 2.37 career ERA and FIP for his career. Had I think, and it should look at his postseason numbers. 2.13 career postseason ERA. Even better than his regular season ERA. Mm-hmm. I know he hasn't been as great recently, but 2.13 lifetime postseason ERA, along with a 5.1 strikeout to walk ratio there. A great reliever for sure.
Yes,
no doubt about it. Just maybe not as many innings. But yeah, and if you want to look at his peak, 2013 to 2017, over a 5-year stretch, he had 331 and a third innings pitched, a 2.01 ERA, and a 1.74 FIP.
Yeah, he was excellent.
8 strikeouts for every walk. Pretty unbelievable. And yeah, 39 saves per year in that 5-year span. So yeah, he's out of that stretch. It's kind of similar to Clayton Kershaw's career path. Like, he had his peak. He's very clearly past his peak, but he's still very, very good.
Yeah.
And the Braves should be very happy to have him, and I'm guessing they probably are, as they gave him $16 million for this year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, kind of a weird thing that done with the Dodgers. Will not be a Dodger for life. But
no.
I guess the other angle of it is Dodgers are pretty confident in what they got with Blake Trinan. I'm guessing that's who they're going to have him.
Yeah.
That's who they're going to have close games
out for them. Still a very good, closing situation.
Blake Trinan last year had a 1.99 ERA and a 2.88 FIP, 10.6 strikeouts per 9 to 3.1 walks per 9 and 0.6 home runs per 9. 206 ERA plus. He was 106% above average. And he's had closing experience before with the 2018 A's, where he did a phenomenal job, and will probably be in a similar situation then. So good for both teams are kind of coming away from it in a good situation.
Absolutely.
Definitely the Dodgers. Dodgers are they'll be just fine. Anything more on the deal?
No, I think that's about it. I think I'm ready to get into some previews.
There we go. All right, so as the microphone gets back near my face. All right, so last week you can check out. We previewed the AL Central and NL Central. What we do is, we review. We don't go too in depth, but we review like where they finished last year, where each team finished last year, who they lost, who they added, and dive into one specific player we want you to watch, and keep an eye out for this year because maybe they'll really improve, or maybe they're a little underrated right now and should be getting more shine. And then at the end of it all, we'll ask a question about the specific team. Sometimes it's pretty arbitrary, Sometimes it's just kind of funny to ask, but yeah, that's the situation of our previews. And yeah, we are starting with the American League West, and we go from bottom to top. So we will start with the Rangers, who last year went 60 and 102, finished last in the AL West, but they were first in the American League in attendance, if you remember. Funny situation. It'll always be one of my favorites, just random stats.
Without context, it's so confusing.
Yeah.
Like when you're telling that to your kids, who'd forget why exactly that was.
Yeah. It's too funny for sure. But that was those are the facts. They lost Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Charlie Culberson, Jordan Lyles, Mike Fulton-Evich, Brock Holt. Outside of Kiner-Falefa, no one too big.
What are they gonna do without Jordan Lyles?
Yeah. And they added Corey Seeger, Marcus Semien, John Gray, Mitch Garver, Brad Miller, Martin Perez, Jake Marisnick, and Brandon Workman.
And Cole Calhoun.
And, Cole Calhoun. I guess I forgot to add there. And Cole Calhoun. What is your player to watch with the Texas Rangers?
So, the story with this team is that they added a lot, and there's just a completely new identity to this team. And I'm looking at some of their options from within to really run with this new identity and take advice from the newer guys. Someone like Nathaniel Lowe. Lowe was one of the better offensive players on the Rangers in the full season last year. He's coming off of a season with a .357 on-base percentage and subsequently a 90 percentile walk rate. So this guy walks a lot as a first baseman. He already has a lot of talents on offense. He did strike out a lot last year, but from August to September of 2021, his strikeout rate went from 28.2% in August to 19.5% in September. So he ended off on a very good note. Also in September, Lowe was one of 15 qualifying hitters with a .75 K to walk ratio as a hitter and a 130 weighted runs created plus. It was he and 14 others. One of those 14 others was Corey Seager, who is his new teammate, someone who we can take a lot of advice from. I think having that other presence in the lineup is going to improve him a lot, and he's already got a lot of potential. So Nate Lowe is definitely a breakout candidate for me, along with the other just great bats that the Rangers line added this offseason.
Right. Yeah, Nate Lowe. He's a younger, mid-20s guy. Mm-hmm. Has a good amount of potential. With the Rangers, I didn't really know what direction to go, so I went a little more high profile, I guess, than we usually do, and talked about one of their new additions, John Gray, who I think I kind of dismissed him earlier in the offseason, but when I looked deeper into it, he's a guy where, maybe a change of atmosphere might help him out a little bit. John Gray, in his career, has 9.2 strikeouts per nine, 3.0 walks per nine, and a 3.91 FIP, which has it's a very big difference from his ERA, which I believe is in the 4.5s. But last year, despite his 4.59 ERA, he had a 3.95 expected ERA, also had a 49.2% ground ball rate, and a fun little narrative ball I got for him. Since 2016, he has 5 seasons with 110 plus innings pitched, 9 plus strikeouts per nine, and 3.5 walks per nine or fewer. The only other pitcher with 5 such seasons in this time frame is Max Scherzer.
Wow.
So he's a guy where, he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He doesn't walk he doesn't walk Greg Maddux level low, but he doesn't walk a lot of guys. He's above average in walk rate in in a good way, and definitely above average in strikeout rate. Gets over a strikeout per inning more often than not, so he's a guy where I think maybe in a more pitcher oriented park, he might you might see the better side of him than you did in Colorado, and he still had some good seasons in Colorado, despite the Coors atmosphere. So now we'll get into questions.
Real quick, just a note on John Gray. Mike Petriello had an article this offseason when he was a free agent that his third time through the lineup numbers are like significantly worse in Coors than they were outside of Coors. Like there wasn't really a particular difference between like him at Coors and him on the road, but third time through the order, like that gets apparent. And the Rangers are going to need guys that can eat up a lot of innings this year.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a very encouraging note on him as well.
Yeah, that is that's good to note.
So now that you mentioned that, my question is, which will be more productive, the Rangers rotation or the Rangers bullpen?
Rangers rotation or Rangers bullpen? In that rotation you got Gray and Dane Dunning.
Do you want to know their Fangraphs projected lineup?
Are you
rotation?
Rotation, yeah.
It's Martin Perez number 2.
Okay.
Dane Dunning number 3, Taylor Hearn number 4, AJ Alexy number 5.
All right.
It's still a Rangers rotation.
I'm gonna say bullpen.
Okay.
Even though I don't really know much of their bullpen, but
they got reliever Garrett Richards.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean that's they
actually do have some like under the radar names.
That's a Fireman of the Year award winner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a swift reminder of what their pitching situation looks like.
Yeah.
My question is about the stars that they acquired. Very basic question. Who will have more wins above replacement in 2022, Corey Seeger or Marcus Semien?
Now, this is a trick question because I think a lot of people just see Seeger as the better player. He got the higher contract. He's a better name. He played in L.A. versus the guy who played in Oakland and Toronto. I'm going to go – wait, are we talking B-War or F-War?
We'll go F4.
Okay. I'm going to say Semien for all-around reasons. I think he was one of the top players in F4 last year in general, and I think he was one of the top ones in 2019 as well. Each of his last two full seasons, he's been one of the best players in baseball as it pertains to F4.
I think he leads all players in F4 since the start of 2019.
Really? Even with his 2020?
Yeah, because, I mean, it was just
60 games.
60 games.
There was not that much of a gap. Let me see. Where does he rank? He does. Would you look at that? Yeah. And it's not even like that far of a margin, or it's a pretty big margin. 15.4. Juan Soto's in second with 14 flat. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Fangraphs, does really like his defense, so makes a lot of sense. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Marcus Semien.
Yeah, there we go. So that is the Rangers. I think there's some stuff to. There's more reason to watch the Rangers this year.
Yes.
They'll have some interest. Interesting offseason. Should be a somewhat interesting team.
Absolutely.
All right, now on to the Los Angeles Angels, who went 77-85 and finished 4th in the AL West last year. And yeah, they're kind of like the Rangers in that they're very, very top heavy. They lost Alex Cobb.
Which is a tough loss.
Tough loss. Steve Cishek and Dylan Bundy. And they added Noah Syndergaard, Aaron Loop, Ryan Tepera, Matt Duffy, Archie Bradley, and Austin Romine. And I guess I'll start with my player to watch for the 2022 season. I'm looking at more of a younger guy, maybe someone who could, add to the lineup. Brandon Marsh. He was a top 60 prospect in baseball heading into last season, And last season, which was his rookie and age 23 season, he hit 254 with a 673 OPS. Nothing, that's below average, especially on the OPS scale. However, his ex-WOBA was 29 points higher than his actual WOBA, which was the 45th unluckiest out of 404 batters with 100-plus batted balls last year. That's top 12% in the unlucky spectrum.
Yeah.
And his difference in slugging and expected slugging was 24th unluckiest, which is the top 6% on the unlucky spectrum. And also out of those 404 batters, his 51.7% hard hit rate was 28th, which is top 7%. And then when you go to how he was able to the types of balls he was hitting, he had a 33.3% line drive rate, which is like 9-10% above average. That is second among the 404 batters to have 100-plus batted balls last year. And 21.8% of his batted balls were hard hit line drives, which leads those 404 batters. And along with that, pretty interesting, he only popped out one time last year.
Wow.
In, I think, 130-something, 140-something batted balls. And among those 404 batters, his 0.7% pop-up rate ranks second lowest. So, highest hard hit line drive rate and second lowest pop-up rate.
Yep.
So the quality of contact, he has a higher strikeout rate, but when he hits the ball, I think there's a lot of potential for good things happening with Brandon Marsh. So, and heading into his age 24 season, he's probably only getting better. So look out for him. Who do you have?
Solid find. I'm looking at someone who I think we got a glimpse of last season before he found himself on the injured list. I'm looking at Patrick Sandoval.
It would have been funny if you were like, I'm looking at Mike Trout.
Looking at this guy, Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if you know this, Chris, but he pitches and hits. You know what it kind of reminds me of? 1919 Babe Ruth.
Too good.
No, I'm looking at Patrick Sandoval, who is a younger starting pitcher. I remember the highlight of his last season was he took a no-hitter into the 9th inning against the Twins. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't finish, unfortunately, but Patrick Sandoval, his changeup is his most used pitch, and it is a good one. It has a 51.4% whiff rate, which is the third highest of any pitch that belongs to a starter that had 50 PAs and on it last year. The only starter pitches to rank higher were DeGrom's slider and Glasnow's curve, so it's in very good company. This is a very weird thing, but his primary pitch changed every month last season. In May, it was his changeup. In June, it was his four-seam fastball. In July, he went back to the changeup, and then in August, it was the sinker. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with his arsenal. I don't see why he doesn't just run with the change, because of the 347 pitches that were thrown at least 100 times during the month of June, Sandoval's curveball had the lowest average exit velocity, which was 72.6. 72.6 miles an hour of average exit velocity.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
and it had the fourth lowest launch angle of -8. So his curveball, for the most part, or his changeup for the most part in the month of June, mind you, that was a month where his four-seam fastball was his primary pitch. It usually resulted in a softly hit ground ball.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
For Patrick Sandoval, where did you say his run value ranked?
His run value, I said, is his average exit velocity. I didn't mention run value.
Oh, what was the thing where it was DeGrom's slider, or was it
whiff rate?
Whiff rate. Okay, yeah, whiff rate.
That was whiff rate.
Whiff rate, yeah. That's extremely interesting, and a younger pitcher where someone young pitching. Quality pitching, something the Angels have desperately needed for a very long time.
Yes.
And might be getting that with Patrick Sandoval. So my question for you, kind of related to my player to watch, but similar guys in that they're young outfielders on the Angels who were each ranked in the top 100, and for one of them top 5. Who will have the better 2022 season, Brandon Marsh or Joe Adell?
Hang on a second.
Oh no! Did we do it? Did we?
We did it again, dude.
Did we? This was one I did not expect for us both to have.
Yeah.
Who takes a bigger step forward this year, Joe Adele or Brandon Marsh? All right.
I mean, I guess you kind of sold me on Marsh.
Yeah, I sold myself on Marsh. So this time we'll agree.
Yeah.
With Brandon Marsh. All right.
We had the same question, just like we did it last year for the Brewers, and the exact same wording. I guess the wording is a little different this time.
Yeah, it
at
is
least.
different. It is different. Yeah, last year I think we both said word for word like who will have the better season, and I think this order was the same of like Brandon Woodruff or Corbin Burns or
Yeah.
like one of the other two.
I remember you said Woodruff and I said Burns.
Yeah. This time we agree.
Yeah.
We think it'll be Brandon Marsh. Yeah, based on like
You sold me. Like that was a really good analysis.
Yeah, hard hit line drives. Brandon Marsh, love to see it. Although Joe Adele will be providing, I think, good defense as well. Marsh is not as good defensively, although he did have 2 outs above average last year.
In a short amount of time. That's a stat that accumulates over a season. So that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to get into the A's just because I want to know what there is to watch on this team.
Yeah. It's very something to be very curious about. Oh yeah, you already asked your question. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. So the Oakland Athletics last year went 86-76 and finished 3rd in the AL West. So they were pretty close. A couple additions, they could be especially with this expanded playoffs. They could have made a run, but no, they lost Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Starling Marte, Chris Bassett, Mark Hanna, Jan Gomes, Andrew Chafin, Jake Diekman, Yusmeiro Petit, and Sergio Romo.
Where did Yusmeiro Petit go?
I think he's still on the free agent market if we're being honest.
I want to say he signed though.
Yeah, or maybe it might be Romo who's still on the free agent market.
No, Romo just signed with I think the Mariners. Yusmeiro
fun.
Petit, yeah, it looks like he's not on a team right now.
So maybe they'll add him back.
Yeah.
In terms of additions, I said added Christian Pache, I guess.
They signed Eric Thames as a free agent apparently.
That's fun.
They signed Billy McKinney.
Billy McKinney in his 9th organization
in the last year.
Like what the heck?
They also signed Stephen Vogt.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, and then I think they signed someone else recently.
Yeah, who else? They got Stephen Vogt. Are they gonna get Grant Balfour back?
Yeah.
They're
gonna sign Jose Canseco back.
Yeah. They're bringing back
Connie Mack's gonna manage this
Al
team.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Eddie Plank.
Eddie Plank. Yep.
All right. Who do you have to watch on this team?
So I had to take out a microscope to find someone.
Yeah.
That's good on this team. But I did find someone that seems interesting. AJ Puck,
Nice.
who was a first-round draft pick in 2016. Despite a small sample size in 2020 and 2021, Puck's ground ball rate rose 8% between those 2 years. And of the 104 lefties to throw at least 50-plus sinkers last season, Puck's 95.9 mile-an-hour average pitch velocity was the 6th highest.
Nice.
And so that means his sinker had really good velocity, some of the highest in baseball. Of the 344 pitchers to throw at least 50 sinkers, Puck's 6.1 inches of vertical movement above league average was 11th highest. So that sinker that I was talking about, it moves, it goes down at a good rate, and it goes fast. So that's encouraging.
Yeah.
He developed it last year, so it wasn't his primary pitch. So I would assume that maybe he's working himself to become a sinker ball pitcher. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if he can make that transition this year. He also lost 1.7 miles an hour off of his fastball last year, which I feel like maybe that's a good reason why he developed his sinker. Maybe he just put less effort into it if he was going with the sinker more. And also his slider had a 46.4% whiff rate, and it had a batting average that was 150 points above the expected batting average. So he has a pretty good arsenal to work with. The sinker's I think is still a work in progress, but I think it's a very good work in progress right now. The slider has some potential as well. It kind of just got BABIP last season, so that's what I'm looking at with AJ Puk this year. Yeah,
when I'm thinking of hard lefty sinkers, I'm thinking of prime Zach Britton. It's not quite the same as it used to be because I think it has less velocity, but like, yeah, I remember
he had like Zach Britton had like a -2 degree launch angle, and it was like the highest of the StatCast era for him.
Yeah, like prime Zach Britton, like 2016. Throw in 98-mile-an-hour sinkers that dip about a foot. Like that's potentially what you could get from AJ Puk. I don't know. That's the ceiling probably. Yeah, like something to look forward to. I went a little more basic. I'm looking at Sean Murphy because he's had a pretty encouraging career so far. He's a young 26-year-old catcher now. I'm not sure.
How happy are you that they didn't trade him so you had someone to look at?
Yeah. Yeah, for now. How funny would it be my player to watch gets traded like immediately after.
That's essentially what I was marketing with Tyler Mahle.
Yeah. I
was like, hey, who wants this guy? He's good on the road.
So Sean Murphy, since the start of 2020, the catcher F4 rankings go JT Realmuto, Will Smith, Yasmani Grandal, Salvador Perez, Buster Posey, and Sean Murphy in that list. So you have what are known as pretty elite catchers, and you got Sean Murphy mixed in there right behind them. Last year he was third in catcher framing runs and won a Gold Glove. Also, since the start of 2020, he leads all catchers in defensive runs above average. And then offensively, last year had a little bit of a down year, but in 2021, his expected WOBA was 28 points higher than his actual WOBA. And out of 207 batters with 250 plus batted balls last year, that was the 17th unluckiest difference, which is top 9% unlucky. Also, his barrel rate was in the 75th percentile. Good sign offensively, and obviously, a Gold Glove winner defensively. So, that's a guy, who'll, not on a good team, but he's one of the better players on the team right now. So make sure to appreciate him more. Anyway, your question about the Oakland A's.
For the full season, who will lead the team in slugging?
Who will lead the team in slugging?
If you think a guy is going to get traded, don't say him.
So, okay, see, what's their lineup right now? You got Murphy, Olsen gone, Chapman gone.
They just signed Jed Lowry too.
That's good. So you got him. Who's in there? Who's been in their outfield? I feel like they didn't let go of too many outfield guys. I mean, maybe Chris Davis from 2018, but I think he's gone now. Oh man, this is really.
I'm giving you the tough questions.
I'm really, yeah. This is like White House correspondent level grilling right now. I'm on the hot seat right now. I'll just stick to my guy like I did last time and say Sean Murphy.
You think he stays? I said if you think okay.
He has a good amount of control left. Like 2020 was his rookie year, so I would assume.
I think he's still pre-arb. Yeah,
he's pre-arb right now, so I think they'll hold on to him for this year,
and then trade him next year.
Maybe next year.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'll say. My question. It's independent of if they'll stay on the A's or not. So Frankie Montas finished 2021 with 207 strikeouts, while Sean Manaea had 194. Who will have more strikeouts in 2022, regardless of team?
Well, let's see. I know that Montas was on the Yankees roster, so if he gets traded to the AL East, that's a lot of good lineups. Manaea, I think, was on the Cardinals radar, so that's the NL Central. So that's I got to consider the division they're getting traded to, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Montas. I think
Alright.
he's very underrated. Like, I know that he hasn't really had a full season because he had a PED suspension recently. I think 2021 was his most complete season. And he had more Ks per 9, I think. So I'm going to stick with Frankie Montas.
Yeah, he was underrated. He was actually one of my how about that's last year.
Yes.
I had a fun stat where I think Eddie Plank and Chief Bender, like he was on a list with Eddie Plank and Chief Bender, and that was it.
Cool.
And that was pretty fun. Now, since I didn't look at the projected lineup for the slugging, you know what? I'm pretty confident in my Sean Murphy choice now that I'm looking at this projected lineup. I was like, am I missing anybody? I was not missing anybody. No, it's gonna be. I'm more confident in my Sean Murphy pick now than I was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those are our questions. Now on to the Seattle Mariners, who last year went 90-72 and finished second in the AL West.
They had a negative 60 run differential and a plus 90 fun differential,
Yes.
according to Baseball Reference.
They lost Kyle Seeger, Tyler Anderson, Hector Santiago, Jake Fraley, Justin Dunn, Sean Doolittle, and Joe Smith, but they added Robbie Ray, the defending American League Cy Young winner, Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez, and Adam Frazier. I almost forgot about. They added some very quality. Obviously, defending AL Cy Young Award winner Jesse Winker had an OPS of 949 last year. Eugenio Suarez is like 3 years removed from a 49 home run season.
Yeah.
So, that's fun. And then Adam Frazier was an all-star last year.
I do need to say they had a negative 51 run differential. Just wanted to get my numbers correct.
Yeah. We have that. My player to watch is a guy who maybe didn't have the best season last year, but I think is a guy who's going to be improving as time goes on. My player to watch, it was actually my 2020 player to watch before he ever played a Major League Baseball game. Logan Gilbert. Because although he had a 4.68 ERA, he had a 4.09 expected ERA and a 3.73 FIP. He had and largely what made his expected ERA and FIP good was he had a 4.6 strikeout to walk ratio. And I have a fun stat on. Ooh, fun. Oh, look at that. Good stat. So the Daniel Kern stat from December 19, 2021 says rookies to have 9.5 plus strikeouts per 9 and less than 2.5 walks per 9. Minimum 95 innings pitched. So the list is Francisco Liriano in 2006, Noah Syndergaard in 2015, Walker Buehler in 2018, Chris Paddock in 2019, and Logan Gilbert in 2021. And my fun stat is in 2021, he became one of 4 pitchers to have 125 plus strikeouts and less than 30 walks in their first season. Not necessarily rookie season, but their first season in Major League Baseball. The other 3 were Roger Clemens, Roy Oswalt, and Masahiro Tanaka.
Wow.
So, he's got the strikeout to walk ratio. He's got a good measurements with that. Maybe could slow down on the home run ball and hard hit contact against him. But he's heading into his age 25 season, so he's got a lot of time to develop.
Sure.
Your player to watch.
My player to watch is one of the additions. It is Eugenio Suarez.
Nice.
He is coming off a down year in which he hit 31 home runs.
Yep.
Which, maybe that says more about Cincinnati than him. But his TOPS plus on the road was only 91, so it wasn't that outrageously.
Yeah. And naturally, you guys
Yeah.
do better on
Yes.
at home than on the road.
Between the first and second half, his average exit velocity went from 87.5 miles an hour to 91.9 miles an hour. That's a huge increase. He had a 140 TOPS plus in the second half.
Wow.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So he ended the month on a high note. He ended the year on a high note. Especially in the month of September, Suarez slashed 370, 460, 808 with a 1268 OPS in 87 plate appearances.
Yeah.
That 1268 OPS led the 371 hitters with at least 30 plate appearances, and he had 87. So Eugenio Suarez, especially like one of the biggest problems with his game is defense. He's going. I mean, it doesn't matter really, but he's going from a National League team to an American League team, one that has plenty of outfielders. So, and they probably have Abraham Toro that they can throw at third base. It is very weird because Fangraphs has Suarez at third, Toro at DH.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, I think only having to focus on offense is going to benefit him a lot.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that's a big power bat, and someone who obviously had a crazy second half that went a little under the radar. My question for you is regarding some of the young outfielders they have. Who will have the best season among Kyle Lewis, Jared Kelenic, and Julio Rodriguez?
Kyle Lewis is hurt right now, and Julio
Is he still hurt?
Yeah, I don't know what exactly the injury is.
He was hurt all of last year, pretty much.
Yes. Let me look at the injury report real quick. Kyle Lewis. Oh, will not be ready for opening day.
Okay.
Yeah, which that could still mean he plays 140 games.
Yeah.
And then Julio Rodriguez. I mean, we already know what's happening with him. Doesn't matter if Kevin Mather isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
we all know what's going on. So I'm gonna say Jared Kelenic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of just by process of elimination. Also, one addition that they made that people kind of forget about is that they do in fact have Ken Giles. Because he signed a 2-year deal and got Tommy John surgery.
I forgot about that.
So which offensive duo will have a stronger year? The additions of Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez, or the familiar faces of Mitch Haniger and Ty France?
Haniger and France versus Winker and Suarez. France, the hit by pitch king.
Yes.
I don't necessarily.
Or if you want to throw in Kelenic Rodriguez as the younger group too, go right ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be Winker and Suarez because I never really know what to expect from Mitch Haniger.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being honest,
he is in a contract year.
He is in a contract year. Is heading into his age 33 season?
31.
31. Okay, so I'm a little bit off there. He had 39 home runs last year, which is hilarious. Like for how kind of relatively low his OPS was for that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty funny how that worked out. But yeah, I'll still say Winker Suarez, especially like you hyped up Suarez, so I'm a little more on the Suarez train than I was before.
Yep.
So yeah, that is the Mariners. Now on to the Houston Astros. They went 95-67 and won the AL West last year. Beat the White Sox in the ALDS in 4 games. Beat the Red Sox in the ALCS in 6 games and lost to the Braves in the World Series in 6 games as well. They lost, as we mentioned, Carlos Correa, also Zach Greinke, Kendall Graveman, Yimi Garcia, and Brooks Raley, and they added Hector Neris, Lewis Brinson, and Nico Goodrum. Lewis Brinson.
You know, everyone from the Yelich trade that the Marlins got is gone now. Everyone that the Marlins got, yeah.
Lewis Brinson.
Out of those 4 big trades, like the only one that really worked out was the Ozuna trade.
Yeah, because he got Alcantara. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Funny.
Lewis
funny
Brinson,
stuff.
Monte Harrison, and 2 others, and they're all gone.
Dang. Who is your player to watch from the Astros?
My player to watch on the Astros is a guy that we've covered plenty. It's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need to hear. I can't pass up any opportunity to talk about Framber Valdez. I would be willing to guess that Chris may have done the same thing.
I kind of thought like you might do it, so I avoided him.
Yeah, good. A 70.3% ground ball rate. The highest of the 2,914 seasons with at least 90 innings pitched since 2002. That's as far as Fangraphs data goes back, so it's probably more than that. His 4.73 ground ball to fly ball ratio also leads that list of 2,914 seasons. It is also the lowest average launch angle in the StatCast era, minimum 300 batted balls, negative 5.5. This dude is a ground ball machine for the longevity that he provides. It is absolutely a sight to behold.
Yes.
Just for that reason alone, I know that he walks a lot of guys and his strikeouts could be better, but Framber Valdez is must watch.
Yeah.
Every time he pitches this year, if I'm not watching, I'm at least going to tune into the box score and look at the play-by-play just to see how many ground balls.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just even in the playoffs we got, because he had that one start where it was 8 innings, 1 run or something like that, and it was why do the Red Sox keep grounding? Why do the Red Sox keep driving the ball into the ground? Why don't they hit a line drive? And we were just sitting back there we know
it's Framber.
It's Framber.
They got Frambered, you know.
Sometimes you get Frambered, as Kevin Cash. In the 2019 playoffs, used the term, we got Verlander. Sometimes you just get Frambered, and you hit 17 ground balls. So I have 2 players to watch. I didn't go too in depth on either one, so I figured I'd put 2, and both kind of interested me. One is a guy who's he's more established, but he should be recognized more for how great he's been. Ryan Presley, the closer of the Houston Astros.
Yes.
Last year, he had a 2.25 ERA, 2.06 FIP, and was 26 for 28 in save opportunities. But he hasn't just been killing it. Since 2021. Since the start of 2018, he has a 2.48 ERA, 12.1 strikeouts per 9, and a 2.43 FIP in 210 and a third innings pitched. In this span, he is 3rd in FWAR among relievers behind Liam Hendricks and Josh Hader, which is, those are the cream of the crop. So 3rd in FWAR behind those guys. And his chase contact rate in his career is 42.5%, which is 16 percentage points lower than league average. So Ryan Presley, he's probably going to do good. But, so it's not a bold prediction to be oh, look out for this guy. But he should be appreciated more for sure, and he's one of the best relievers out there, and he's not a household name quite yet, but he should be. My other player to watch, not too much analysis on him, but he interested me, Chas McCormick. Heading into his age 27 season, I miswrote this, but he is heading into his age 27 season, if you want to know. And he had 11 outs above average in 108 games last year, and a lot of those games he was only coming in for 1 inning. So even more impressive. He also had a 107 OPS plus in 320 plate appearances, so being 7% above league average offensively and very much above league average defensively. That's a good recipe for success as an Astros outfielder. And along with that, he's in the 89th percentile in sprint speed. So, beating out infield singles, a potential base stealer, even though stealing bases isn't really in fashion right now, because there's a lot of fast guys who just don't steal bases, which is funny to me. But yeah, so Ryan Presley, appreciate him a little more. Chas McCormick, kind of look out for him. He's an extremely good defender and was above average offensively last year, so look out for him.
Worth noting, first of all, when you said guy who's established but people don't realize how great he is, I thought you were going to say be basic and choose Kyle Tucker. But Ryan Presley was a great pick. Second of all, I think it's worth noting, Fangraphs projects their starting shortstop to be Jeremy Pena. That is Carlos Correa's replacement. Yeah. Last year, he, in 30 games in AAA, he slashed 287, 346, 598, 944.
598.
Yeah, 598 slugging. In granted, 30 games, but still worth noting. So that's something to watch out for because he's projected to be in the opening day lineup, obviously. And we'll have to see what I could see, like, in June, maybe Correa's having a down-ish year. Maybe Pena's pretty good. And Astros fans are like, we did the right thing.
Yeah. The whole Taiwan Walker thing with the Mets.
Yeah. But then it all balances out and Correa's significantly better.
Yeah.
I could see that happening in like late April, early May.
For sure, no doubt about it.
It seems like one of those scenarios.
Yeah, you're so right about that. It will happen for sure.
My question.
Yeah. Your question. You go first.
So the Astros have won the division by at least 5 games in every full season since 2017. Over under 4.5 game gap between them and second place in the division, assuming you have them winning the division. Maybe you don't.
I definitely say under because I'm debating in my head whether they will win the division or not.
All right.
Because I know the Mariners' run differential wasn't great last year, but I do like what the Mariners have.
Okay.
Especially with adding a Cy Young Award winner and Jesse Winker.
Yes.
And the Astros, even outside Correa, Greinke was a quality starter last year for the most part, at least an innings eater. Kendall Graveman and Yimi Garcia were quality after the trade deadline. Brooks Raley was, he was, what's the term? The opposite of a volcano.
Yeah.
In terms of being unlucky last year. So, the Astros did lose a good amount. I do like what they have with Dusty Baker at the helm and managing that. And I guess they do have Justin Verlander coming back. But I still say under because I think they still did. I didn't expect them to win 95 games last year. I think they overperformed slightly a little bit. So and then losing Correa, that'll hurt the lineup and their defense as well.
Just look out for all those edgy tweets from Astros fans on I'd say April 28th.
Yeah.
That's going to be the day. Jeremy Pena will be pretty good. Correa will be having a downish start.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And
I can't wait.
Yeah.
April 28th. Yeah. I'm going to keep that on my calendar. And now we move on to the National League West. After a smooth transition into that, where we will start off with the last place in National League West and Major League Baseball, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Were they really?
Well, they got the number 1 pick next year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
In 2022.
Yeah, they do. Wow.
They went 52 and 110 to finish, last in Major League Baseball.
Them and the Orioles both.
Them and the Orioles tied, and I guess the Diamondbacks got a tiebreaker somehow. And over the offseason, they lost Cole Calhoun, Tyler Clippard, and Taylor Clark. And they added Mark Melancon, Zach Davies, Ian Kennedy, and Caleb Bargaar or Barrager?
Oh, Bargaar.
Bargaar.
With an average age of 34 and a half.
Yeah.
Average service time of 8 years.
So I think you had with the Astros you had your player go first, or you talked about your player first.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my player first. And I mentioned last week how some of these guys, I'm not even gonna mention them because they're necessarily good, but because they're kind of funny. And the last guy I mentioned as an addition is a funny guy, Caleb Bargaar. So. Last year he had a 1.57 ERA despite bad peripherals. I don't know, 1.57 ERA. That's it's fun. I know that it's probably not going to withstand, but it's good for him. What stands out is his launch angle against. So there have been 525 pitchers to have 100 plus batted balls against them since the start of 2020, and no one has a higher average launch angle against than Caleb Bargaar. 28.5% of his batted balls against him have had a 45-degree launch angle against or higher, which is the highest rate among those 525 pitchers. His average launch angle in his career is around 28 degrees. which is pretty insane. He has a very high pop-up rate, very high high fly ball rate, as mentioned by the 28.5% of the batted balls have had a 45-degree launch angle or higher, which is, that's pretty much a guaranteed out. But so Caleb Bargaar, you're gonna pop it up. You're gonna hit a high fly ball. So watch out for him. It's just a funny guy.
That's fantastic. I mean, I know that this was like years ago at this point, but like Chase Field did get rid of the humidor a while ago, and I believe that like turns down home runs, right?
I don't know. It's weird. Like,
I'm trying to look at it right now.
I think do you mean getting rid of it turns down home runs, or having it gets rid of home runs?
I think like the humidor, like the fact they took it away was supposed to, it was supposed to like suppress home runs.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think that's what the Rockies had it at first. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's able to be in an environment,
granted that was like 5 years ago,
which takes away home runs, he can be a decent reliever.
Let me look at like ballpark factors. Yeah. To see where Chase Field ranks in comparison to
because he was
Park.
he was just at Oracle Park, which is friendly for a guy who's gonna have a lot of fly balls against him.
Chase Field has a 101 park factor and Oracle has a 95. But if we're looking strictly at home runs, it's actually just about the same. So it looks like it's, if anything, it's like worse off for him. But then again, a lot of that could be contributed to one team has really good pitching and bullpen, and one team is really bad.
True. So Caleb Bargaar, if you're watching him, just watch for those pop-ups because they're gonna happen.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Who is your player to watch from the Diamondbacks?
I guess I'm kind of going a similar route to you, as I'm going with a guy who's just really unique. But this guy is also like good and is going to have a very important role in the team, Dalton Varsho. He was a how about that of mine last year. He is already one of 3 players in the modern era to play at least. Well, he's one of 3 players in the modern era, that is since 1900, according to Baseball Reference, to play 40 games at catcher and 40 games in center field before turning 25. The two others were Dale Murphy and Roger Bresch something. Mm-hmm. I think you know how to pronounce it.
I don't know.
Guy was really good. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Brescianan?
Brescianan? I would imagine that's his silent H.
Yeah, Brescianan.
I've actually never heard of him.
Either way, the guy played from... I see him in like StatHead every now and then. Anyway, the point is, the guy played... He debuted in 1897, played 6 games, and then didn't play again until 1900. And he played at least 40 games at catcher and center field. He was the first player to do so. Dale Murphy was the second, and Dalton Varsho was the third. From July 20th on last season, Varsho slashed 294, 345, 541 for an 886 OPS. That's pretty encouraging. His 130 weighted runs created plus in that time frame ranked 3rd among catchers. And also, of the 180 catchers in the StatCast era, Varsho's 4.18 home plate to first base sprint is the fastest. Which I guess it makes sense if it's the one catcher that also plays center field to be the fastest catcher, but it's still just a pretty cool note on him. And he's going to be one of the more important hitters on this team. He's probably going to be hitting in the middle of the order. He's also going into his age 25 season, so there's going to be a lot expected from him. He was one of the top prospects in the system of Arizona coming up to the big leagues, so I'm interested to see if he can take a step forward because and I'm also interested to see what he does positionally because, like, Carson Kelly is the starting catcher on that team. He's probably staying on the roster. They're kind of going to have to carry 3 catchers, or maybe 2.5, I suppose.
Right.
But that's going to be cool.
Yeah, if we're to look at it maybe more optimistically, it's like, oh, you get to carry, You get to carry whatever, like 5 outfielders. One of them also happens to be a catcher.
Yeah, just in case like you need. Like I don't think he's gonna play catcher as much this year since they are carrying 2 others and the DH is now a thing.
Right. Reminds me of the great Blake Swihart back in the day.
That's true.
Man, what could have been?
What could have been? Look at remember what they took from us.
Yeah.
He and Henry Owens.
I mean, he got injured in left field. That's what kind of was the downturn for him.
Poor guy.
Tough. All right, now on to questions. My question is regarding a guy you've had a lot of high praise for. Since probably, he got, I think he was a player to watch in like 2020 for you. This guy also had a great 2020, unlike most of us. But, sorry to come back to the joke. But he had a great 2020 season, and not as not great. A little some injuries sporadically in there in 2021. But will Zach Gallen have over or under a 3.5 ERA?
Over under 3.5. Yeah, I think there's reason to believe it. He's going to be ideally healthy this year. He showed that he has that potential in 2020. He was great all around. Like he was I think he got Cy Young votes, and I think people were even arguing for him to be the Cy Young.
Right.
So yeah, I absolutely think he has that potential. One of my favorite trades, just in general, is Zach Gallen for Jazz Chisholm straight up.
It's like I mean, either team would be fine if they didn't do it, but both teams are fine that they did it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Like both players have like a homegrown feel.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Zach Gallen's always been a Diamondback. What do you mean?
Yeah. Jazz Chisholm. I mean, yeah.
Like that guy was born and raised in Miami,
yes.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. He grew up. He grew up idolizing Kevin Brown, and Luis Castillo. Yeah, Luis Castillo was actually his idol.
Zach Gallen was at Game 7 in 2001.
Yeah.
And also, Jazz Chisholm at the age of 3 was at Game 7 in 1997.
Yeah.
How old would Jazz Chisholm have been for that game?
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, Zach Gallen. He wore a Brandon Webb jersey for 100 days straight in summer between
2005
between 7th and 8th grade for him.
He's from the Bahamas, so obviously.
I don't know, a tropical.
Oh, wow, he wasn't even alive for that game. He was born February 1st, 1998.
Yeah.
He was there in 2003.
Yeah.
He was at the
he went to the Bronx. He braved the storm in a in a Josh Beckett jersey.
Yeah. He went to the Alex Gonzalez walk-off game.
Yeah.
and the Bartman game too.
Oh yeah. He was actually one of the fans going for the ball. They don't blame him. He was too little. So anyway, your question for the Diamondbacks.
My question, who will have a higher OPS? Christian Walker, who is projected on Fangraphs to have a 752 OPS, or David Peralta, who is projected to 757?
That's a good question. I'll say Christian Walker, just because I just know him more for his offense than his defense. Doesn't necessarily mean he's better, but I feel like he'll make his mark more. Just a feeling. All right. On to the Colorado Rockies, who last year kind of overperformed, oddly enough. Went 74 and 87.
But they also went 65 and 70 from May 1st on.
Yep, and finished 4th in the National League West. They lost Trevor Story and John Gray. They added Chris Bryant, Chad Kuhl, Alex Colomé, and Jose Iglesias. Who is your player to watch?
Remember when the Rockies could not win a game on the road to save their life last year?
Yeah.
They were 4 and 15. Probably even worse. They were 4 and 25 on the road.
Well, I remember when the Diamondbacks went over a month.
That's true. They did go over a month without winning a game on the road.
It was Madison Bumgarner's 7-inning no-hitter.
Yep. April 25th.
Shout out to 7-inning no-hitters today. But Springfield College just had a 7-inning no-hitter
in between division previews. Yes.
Yeah. So
we heard about the news. We were like, we got to stop this recording right now.
Yeah. We got Kirk and Robinson. They're combining for one right now. But yeah, shout out to 7 inning no hitters, and then the Diamondbacks went over a month without a road win. It was like what, 17 or 18 consecutive losses on the road.
It was crazy.
It was insane. Who's your Rockies player to watch?
My Rockies player to watch is someone who kind of overperformed last season in a somewhat small sample, but it doesn't look like he is a spot on the team this year, which is very unfortunate because he's pretty good. Connor Joe. He's an outfielder who, after the Chris Bryant signing, is not on the Fangraphs projected opening day lineup. He's on the bench, which I disagree with, because Connor Joe, of the 362 hitters with at least 200 plate appearances, his 379 on base percentage ranked 18th in the majors. Joe slugged 667 on four-seam fastballs and 636 on sinkers. There was one player that slugged more on each pitch in minimum 25 plate appearances against sinkers and 50 plate appearances on four-seam fastballs. That one player was Bryce Harper. It's the only player that outslugged Connor Joe on both pitches last year, minimum those plate appearances.
Which pitches?
Fastball and sinker.
Yeah, so
which makes sense because Coors.
It's in the fastball both in the fastball category. Yeah.
His 6.6 run value per 100 against sinkers ranks second among the 404 hitters that have at least 25 plate appearances that ended on a sinker. That means, for every 100 sinkers he was thrown, he produced approximately 6.6 runs.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive. Of the 415 hitters that had 50 plate appearances ending in a fastball or a sinker, Joe's 663 slugging against them ranked 16th. He is one of the best hitters in the league when you throw him those two particular pitches. He also had an OPS in the mid-8s last year. The Rockies have to find a way to get this guy at the plate as much as they can because he is very good.
Absolutely. I'm guessing a younger guy.
He was kind of like a career minor leaguer. He's going into his age 29 season.
Yeah.
And last year was essentially his rookie season.
Right. But a producer nonetheless. My player to watch, I went pretty basic for the Rockies because it's kind of hard, Yeah, if you want to go in depth, you got to go into the run value on sinkers and.
Yep.
it's a deep hole you have to go down, and I was not prepared to do that with the Rockies, I guess. So I went with C.J. Cron, who I guess would probably.
I think he was my player to watch last year.
Yeah, my reasoning this year is he had a great 2021. He had a 905 OPS and a 130 OPS plus last year. And in his final 52 games of the season, he hit 337 with a 1073 OPS and a 165 weighted runs created plus. Out of 155 qualifiers in that span, his average ranked 7th, his on-base percentage ranked 8th, his slugging ranked 4th, OPS ranked 5th, and weighted runs created plus, which is park factored, ranked 11th out of 155. CJ Cron, he might have gone under the radar to someone who was, not paying attention to the non-contending teams, especially later in the year, because he was probably more average until those last 2 months, and really popped off. And I don't know if he's someone that could potentially be traded this year, or
I highly doubt it. Because if you look at his splits, it makes him far less desirable.
Right.
Very far less desirable.
Yeah. So, but 165 weighted runs created plus in the final 52 games, very, very good. And, he's a good reason to watch the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, he had a 1073 OPS at home and a 734 OPS on the road.
Yeah.
135 TOPS plus to 65 TOPS plus.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they re-signed him as a free agent this year, and that made so much sense. If he went anywhere else, I would have been like, why? But what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. Your question.
My question: where in the order is Charlie Blackmon hitting at the end of the season? He is projected to be leadoff, but I think the Rockies have a lot of guys coming up. Ryan McMahon, had a pretty good walk rate last year. Brendan Rodgers is projected to take a big step forward. They just got Randall Grichuk. They got Jose Iglesias. Sam Hilliard is projected 21 home runs and 11 stolen bases. Garrett Hampson is projected 10 stolen bases. Not a lot of power there, but he's a guy that has speed. Charlie Blackmon last year had 66th percentile sprint speed and a 9% walk rate. Do you think he's still the leadoff hitter? Do you think he moves somewhere else? Do you think he's still in the lineup? Where do you think he's at the end of the year?
Interesting question. Who's their manager right now? It's not still Bud Black.
It's still Bud Black.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, he's leading off in 2027.
So it's Bud Black. So I guess that because I don't know. I feel like that's just been his spot for a very long time. And I don't know, and also it's not a thing where obviously we both know that the best hitter doesn't go there, and sometimes not even your top 5 hitter, top 5 hitters go there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think because they're not going to be contending and thinking about lineup changes at that point.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at more as a transitional thing because they have a lot of guys coming up in that lineup, and Blackmon is going into his age 35 season.
Yeah, I think if they were to change Blackmon's lineup position, they'd do it in the offseason for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just a feeling. I don't really have anything to support that, but I think he'll stay leadoff when season's end comes, and if not, I'd say 6th.
Yeah.
My question, it's about a couple of the guys you just mentioned. Who will have a better offensive season? Brendan Rodgers or Ryan McMahon? Offensive strictly.
Ooh, offensive strictly. That is a great question. You know what? Brendan Rodgers was actually my player to watch last year. I'm going to stick with my guns from 2021. I think he takes a big step forward this year at second base, and I think he becomes a really good offensive contributor for the team.
Nice. Yeah. Rodgers, for reference, last year had a 798 OPS,
which is very good.
McMahon was 779.
I think Rodgers started out struggling, so that probably means he did very well towards the end of the season.
Right.
Fangraphs projects him to have a 474 slugging, which is very good.
Yeah, that is very good. Definitely very good.
Let me check.
Yeah, we'll get the numbers on that on Brendan Rodgers. He came
in the data sheet right now.
Yeah, he came up as a pretty top prospect.
He was like a top 10 pick.
Yep. Probably a Yard Goats legend.
Yes, he was. Oh wow, this goes a while back. From June 21st on, he slashed 294, 328, 490, 818.
Nice.
490 slugging. That's a 490 slugging in 76 games. That's pretty good.
Nice.
I'd say if he could just take more walks, because a 294 to a 328 OBP, it's not exactly 294 average is cool, but I mean you definitely want to walk a lot
more. A little more patience.
I think that's definitely the biggest thing that's missing from his offensive game.
Exactly. But yeah, something to develop. He's heading into his age 25 season. McMahon heading into his age 27 season. And now we go on to the Padres.
The Friars.
Who we talked about a ton last year.
Not for the right reasons.
At first it was for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And then, man, did it take a turn.
The peak of their season was Joe Musgrove throwing a no-hitter, and that was on April 10th.
Yeah, they I think we had 9 slightly alarmings or something like that.
We could have made a whole lineup.
Yes.
Even though there were probably multiple pitchers.
Yeah, have
definitely multiple pitchers.
Have
Blake Snell, Chris Paddock.
Just have Yu Darvish at third base. But
he's throwing curveballs to first.
Yeah. Eric Hosmer.
That Eric Hosmer is catching because he's in that lineup.
Yeah.
He was one of mine.
Over the offseason, they lost Tommy Pham, Adam Frazier, Daniel Hudson, Matt Strahm, and Jake Marisnick. Good for them. They got rid of that cheating SOB, Jake Marisnick, ruining baseball. And they added Luis Garcia, the the Luis Garcia in his 30s who pitched for the Cardinals last year. They also added Nick Martinez, which is pretty interesting. He was over in Japan for
didn't he sign like a 4-year deal?
Yes.
That's one that I'm interested in.
That's very interesting. And Nomar Mazara they added as well, who can hit the ball very far, but doesn't do it too often. All right, and my player to watch is actually it's directly from the stats I'm using for this is pretty much directly from a how about that I had in September, and it's pretty basic, but I don't think
Fernando Tatis Jr.
I don't think this stretch was being recognized like maybe as much as it should have been because of how bad the Padres were doing at this time. Blake Snell.
Yep.
Despite an underwhelming overall season in 2021, he turned things around greatly late in the season. In his final start, he left with an injury after 2/3 of an inning. But in his previous 7 starts, he had a 1.85 ERA, a 2.35 FIP in 43 2/3 innings pitched. And out of 56 qualifiers in that span, his ERA ranked 8th, his FIP ranked 6th, and his strikeouts per 9 ranked 1st out of those 56 qualifiers. Along with that, his 7-start span had the highest strikeout rate in a 7-game span with 100-plus batters faced in Padres history.
Wow.
And shout out to Thomas Harrigan of MLB.com, who in September, he noted that Snell basically abandoned his changeup. He went from using it 14.3% of the time to less than 1% of the time in that
7-game stretch.
In that 7-game stretch, hitters were slugging 610 off of that changeup, so he abandoned it, stuck to fastball, curveball, slider, and was excelling. Had almost 14 strikeouts per 9, which is pretty crazy. Who is your player to watch from the Friars?
Yeah, my player to watch is just to clarify, this is the Padres. My player to watch is Luis Garcia. Because that needs a ton of clarification.
Yes.
Last year at the age of 34, he underwent a major uptick in velocity. His average pitch speed was 93.6 miles an hour after being 91.5 miles an hour in 2020 and never having been more than 92.9 miles per hour in his career. At age 34, he raised his average velocity by almost a full mile per hour. He also had a career high in spin rate, which peaked in the month of July. Very important detail. It peaked in July.
Peaked in the month of July.
Yes, as in the month where the ban was instituted.
Yeah.
Fully. Yes. So you can't be like, oh, career high in spin rate, I wonder why. Nope.
Yeah.
It peaked in July. Also, he had a 1.74 K to walk ratio entering 2021, and he put together a 4.25 K to walk ratio last year, which is a dramatic increase. In fact, it was the same K to walk ratio as Josh Hader. Yeah.
Nice.
So, okay, I figured. Oh wait, your questions first. Anyway, Luis Garcia. The Padres need a lot of help. They need some veteran presence. And Luis Garcia had a breakout season last year at the age of 34 that went completely under the radar.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you think, oh, we had a random resurgence here on the Cardinals, it's obviously because he played behind the Cardinals defense. But the biggest thing was K to walk ratio, which doesn't have anything to do with the infield defense.
Exactly.
Or just the defense in general. Maybe it does have a lot to do with Yadier Molina calling a game, but I still think it's encouraging.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Especially with that uptick in velocity and spin rate that was not influenced by foreign substances. My question, who has the better potential bounce-back season? There's a lot of options here, but I'm going with 2.
Okay.
Blake Snell or Yu Darvish?
Blake Snell or Yu Darvish? I think Snell, just because, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say Darvish because we've seen him in this situation before. Darvish struggled early with the Cubs, and then he got it back together. Maybe it's just a thing where he's kind of just, he struggles in new environments, and then he builds himself back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw it in Chicago. He struggled for the first couple of years of that big contract that he got. And then in 2020, he was a Cy Young finalist.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Yu Darvish. My question, who is your resurgence candidate on this team? Because that's really the only question that can truly be asked.
Yeah, there's just a lot of options. Like,
I gave you the free range to take anyone. I'd say avoid taking Blake Snell.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, you can go Darvish Snell. You could go, like Trent Grisham a little bit.
Yes. He had a miserable stretch in
Yeah.
mid-September.
You could go Eric Hosmer, which I won't go with. You can't go Cronenworth. He actually had a very good year throughout.
Yeah.
Probably
can't go Machado either.
Yeah, I can't go Machado.
Can't go Pham because he's off the team.
Yeah, I can't go.
Will Myers.
Yeah, there's Will Myers potentially. Who are some other pitchers? Chris Paddock.
Chris Paddock is a good one. Kirby Yates is off the team. He's been off the team.
Yeah.
He's going to bounce back from 2020. Ha-Sung Kim, Austin Nola.
Yeah, I'll say Trent Grisham.
Okay. Also, Dinelson Lamet.
Oh, yeah.
He was hurt, though. He wasn't, bad.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He was, even when he was pitching, he was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say Trent Grisham.
Okay.
Because I had a small obsession with him, at the beginning of last year. And
yes, you did.
I hope to continue that. So,
yes.
Because, I think there's this from start of 2020 to, May-ish area where, the only outfielders ahead of him in FWAR were, Acuna, Soto, and Betts.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, oh, well, Trent Grisham, he's great. And then, yeah, he had that horrible stretch, which was highlighted on Slightly Alarming.
I can't believe this team finished under 500 last year.
Yeah, me
That
neither.
makes no sense.
Exactly.
And also, the Rockies had a better record than them from May 1st on.
Ridiculous. Anyway, on to a couple teams that
did not finish under 500.
Did not finish under 500. Finished well above 500, in fact. We'll start off with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who went 106-56 and finished second in the NL West. It's just a funny sentence, right? It was. I think it was the best record by a wild card team in the wild card era. So
I don't even think you have to look that up. I
Yeah.
think that's just common sense.
Yes. They beat the Cardinals in the NL wild card game. They beat the Giants in the NLDS in 5 games and lost to the Braves in the NLCS in 6 games. Over the offseason, they lost Max Scherzer, Corey Seager, Kenley Jansen, Corey Knebel, Joe Kelly, and Albert Pujols, and they added Freddie Freeman, Daniel Hudson, and Tyler Anderson.
Someone's got to sign Albert Pujols. He's so close to 700 home runs.
True.
I think he's what does he have?
Or I don't know.
I think he has 679.
Yeah, I don't know if he can get there. If I'm honest.
672. Oh, that's not great.
Yeah.
Still. Someone sign him.
He passed Mays, so
He passed Mays. Haven't passed A-Rod.
Oh wow! Shout out to Lupo and Nick Storlazzi. You can find Nick Storlazzi on Birthplace Studios.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah. So anyway, who is your player to watch on the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, this is always a really hard team to do
is.
this with because it's we always try to go under the radar. That doesn't exist if you're on the Dodgers. So I decided to take a well-known player and take a different angle on him. I'm talking about Justin Turner.
Nice.
Everyone knows him. He's the guy with the big red beard. He's the guy who looks like Santa Claus. And he's been producing for them since 2014. He is one of 2 Dodgers players of all time with a 130 OPS plus and 3,500 plus plate appearances with the team. The other one is Pedro Guerrero. As of right now, he is one of 60 players to have 8 seasons with 120 OPS plus from age 29 on. I have to use minimum 175 plate appearances because thanks 2020. I mentioned he has 8 seasons with that. He has played 8 seasons since age 29 with those stats every single time. Last year, he set a career high in exit velocity with 90.9 miles an hour, and he set a career high in launch angle in 19.2. So he's proven that he still has a lot left in the tank. He hit the ball last year harder than ever, so he's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm checking. I'm actually just checking to make sure my is my guy still injured? Who knows? But I'm just going to talk about him. You know, he'll probably be on the team at some point during the year. Definitely later on in the year, I would hope. But my player to watch
Is it an upstate New York legend?
Is he? I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy, they signed to a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
They signed to a 2-year deal before the 2021 season, knowing that he wasn't going to pitch in 2021 because of Tommy John surgery.
Speaking of Tommy John.
Speaking of Tommy John.
Tommy.
Oh,
John.
yeah. Speaking of Tommies, yeah. But
yeah, it's Dustin May.
But, you know, with the losses of Kenley Jansen, Corey Knebel, Joe Kelly, Dodgers are going to need some more bullpen help. And where are they going to get it? They're going to get it from this guy they signed to a 2-year deal, knowing he wasn't going to pitch the first year, Tommy Kahnle. So in his last full season, which was 2019, he had a 3.67 ERA, 3.14 expected ERA, and a strikeout rate of 35.5%.
Nice.
His strikeout rate and whiff rate were in the 96th percentile, and his expected ERA was in the 89th percentile. So this is a guy who, sorry to go full Collinsworth there, but Tommy Kahnle, he's someone who, you know, he's had some significant success in previous bullpens. You know, sure, he hasn't pitched in a little bit, but you know, coming off Tommy John surgery, if he recovers well enough, he'll probably get some consistent innings, especially later in the year for the Dodgers. And, you know, he's someone where, you know, this is another guy who, you know, come time it's like game 4 for the Dodgers and they're trying to do a bullpen game. You know, Tommy Kahnle is going to be given some quality innings for the Dodgers when that comes around, if he's able to stay healthy after his Tommy John surgery.
So he had his Tommy John in August of 2020, which means like it was a pretty long while ago. Usually it takes like a calendar year to start like getting ready.
Yeah.
To pitch again. He actually had. I'm just checking it right now. He threw his first live VP session today.
Oh.
So that's encouraging.
Timely.
Yeah, very timely. Apparently he's not going to be ready for opening day. I don't blame him. But I think we can start seeing him pretty soon, like at least by May.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if he's ready by opening day. Like, this is a guy who, this is someone who is you know, you're gonna notice him more probably when it comes playoff time.
Yep.
when the bullpen is emphasized more.
That's right.
All right, question time.
So my question, there are a lot of fantastic players on this team, particularly on offense. Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, the list goes on. Who leads this team in F-WAR?
Who leads this team in F-WAR? Good that you put F-WAR because Will Smith is considered much higher with that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough because there's great offensive players. There's also a surplus of great defensive players on the team. So, you know, maybe a guy like Max Muncy is going to have a great offensive year, but maybe a guy like Mookie Betts beats him in F-WAR because of his defense. And yeah, Freddie Freeman, he's always been consistently like a 5-win guy. Mookie Betts can be like, he's always at least like 4 wins above replacement.
And none of those guys are the guy that the Dodgers had that led the league in F-WAR last year.
Yeah, and then you got Trey Turner, who, you know, led the league in F-WAR last year. And he's heading into a contract year. I feel like I've heard nothing about an extension with him.
Which is weird. Well,
I've heard nothing about an extension with like anybody.
I know.
Like,
I think Robert Murray tweeted today that the Diamondbacks are working on one with Ketel Marte.
interesting.
Cool. Good for him.
Interesting.
Not that really matters that much.
Yeah. Like, Turner and Judge are the 2 guys who need to be extended. Or it's more necessary for the Yankees to sign Judge than the Dodgers sign Turner, but
Cause the Dodgers still have options if Turner goes.
yeah.
Like, they have Gavin Lux. They have Chris Taylor.
Right.
So many people.
Yeah, Turner's been
Zach McKinstry.
Turner's been great over the past 2 years. I can imagine him, leading the team in F4 this year. But I'm going to say Mookie Betts does it because I think people kind of forgot how good he was. And he does kind of have this low-key, like, every other year thing.
Yep.
Like 2018 MVP, 2020 runner-up for MVP.
2016 runner-up for MVP.
2016 runner-up for MVP. So, based on chance, I guess I'll go with Mookie Betts.
Fair enough.
My question, my question's probably my most like pretty subjective one. Hear me out.
Okay.
What percentage chance do you give that we will be saying Will Smith is the best catcher in baseball by the end of the season?
Ooh. What percent chance? I've been saying for years that he's the best offensive catcher. I think Yasmani Grandal is really the only person that can compete.
Yeah.
Best catcher in baseball, period. Buster Posey's out of the league now.
Yeah.
That's pretty
You
significant.
got Real Muto in the way.
Real Muto, Grandal. Maybe Mitch Garver has a resurgence in Texas. Maybe Gary Sanchez has a resurgence in
And you
Minnesota.
got a guy who hit the most home runs by a catcher ever.
I forgot about him. You got Dalton Varsho. You got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe Shohei Ohtani plays catcher. I mean, what can't that guy do?
Yeah. Brock Holt.
Brock Holt. The percent chance, I'm going to say, just because there's a lot of people in the way, I'm going to say like 25%.
25%.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. I can respect that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now onto the last team of the episode.
Yes.
The defending National League West champion San Francisco Giants, who went 107-55, won the National League West, and lost to the Dodgers in the NLDS in 5 games last year. Over the offseason, they lost Kevin Gausman, Buster Posey, Chris Bryant, Johnny Cueto, Tony Watson, and Alex Dickerson. They added Carlos Rodon, Alex Cobb, Jock Peterson, Matthew Boyd, and Jacob Junis. And my player to watch from the Giants is a guy who's been kind of quietly producing, maybe not like quietly for the Giants. Like if you're a Giants fan, you probably kind of know that this guy's producing, but from a general league perspective, he's kind of been going under the radar because he also doesn't play every day. But Darren Ruff,
Yep.
Overall, since the start of 2020, he has a 900 OPS and 412 plate appearances. In 2021, he had a 1,007 OPS against lefties. And out of the 149 batters to have 140-plus plate appearances against lefties last year, Ruff ranked second out of those 149 in on-base percentage and fourth in OPS. So, he's a guy, he's exactly what you want out of a platoon righty first baseman. Like,
Yeah.
he is prototypical. Like,
Also had the most
this
random
is-
resurgence ever.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever they got in the water in San Francisco.
I remember opening day 2020 when you were at my house. He was in the lineup on opening day against the Dodgers, and I was like, man, the Giants are they're really down bad. They got Darren Ruff out there. Now he's the best player like possibly on their team on like just from an offensive standpoint. I was looking at pitch arsenal stats earlier. I'm pretty sure he's like the best hitter in the league against sinkers when I was looking at Connor Joe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I want to make sure I can find.
Oh, and imagine you're a lefty who throws a sinker. You're screwed.
Yeah, sorry, Zach Britton.
Yeah.
You can get anyone out, but not this guy.
Oh, AJ Puck against Darren Ruff
Dude.
for the Battle of the Ages.
Battle of the Bay.
What do you want at some people at All-Star Weekend want like they want like target practice. We want Darren Ruff versus AJ Puck.
So Darren Ruff had 45 plate appearances against sinkers. He slugged 921. That's a really good OPS. That was his slugging percentage. He batted 474. He still had an expected slugging of 850.
That's insane.
Which is amazing.
He just slammed sinkers.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So, scouting report, don't throw this guy a sinker. You won't get a ground ball.
Yeah. He's going to get an extra base hit.
Yep. He's going to lift it.
All right. And your player to watch.
My player to watch is a guy that isn't necessarily under the radar. He's been there a while, but I think people don't realize how good he truly is. Brandon Belt.
Yeah.
Is a really
the other side of the platoon.
Yes. Yeah. When your guy's not playing first base, my guy. Well, now it doesn't matter because there's a DH, but now we can get them both in the lineup. Since August 16th of 2020. Very random date, but it has a lot of significance because I remember tweeting about that specific day when he was a How About That in 2020.
Yeah.
And I talked about it in an article last year about launch angle. Anyway, since August 16th of 2020, there are 645 players with at least 40 plate appearances. Do you want to know how many of them have a better weighted runs created plus than Brandon Belt?
There are
645 players.
There are 645 players
with at least 40 plate appearances.
40 plate appearances. So
Brandon Belt had 516.
Well, I know he had a 975 OPS last year. I'm gonna say 0.
Yeah. Yeah, that is right. He leads the 645 players in weighted runs created plus with 174 since August 16th of 2020. In that time, he slashed 299, 407, 628, 1035. Overall, he was one of 5 players in 2021 to be in the top 25 percentile in barrel rate, chase rate, and outs above average. So that's 3 completely different components of baseball. One of them is strictly defense. One of them is, how well you're squaring up the ball at the optimal angle. One of them is how good your eye is. He was one of 5 players to be in the top 25 percentile. The other 4 were Juan Soto, Matt Chapman, Joey Gallo, and Max Muncy. So Brandon Belt, he's an elite player on all fronts.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, he's a giant lifer, and just continuing to produce.
Yeah.
Despite being approaching his mid-30s. My question does involve Brandon Belt, because also this kind of goes with a theme of like guys in their early to mid-30s.
I should mention Brandon Belt took the qualifying offer. His contract is 1 year, $18.5 million.
Right.
He could have gotten a lot. I feel like he should have gotten a lot more. But good for the Giants for keeping him.
Yeah, it must have just been like
he was hurt.
The fact that he
played 97 games.
Didn't get as many plate appearances.
Yeah.
But my question is, of Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, and Evan Longoria, who will be able to be closest to their 2021 success?
Ooh. Brandon Crawford got first place MVP votes. Granted, they were from 2 San Francisco writers, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they were.
So take that with a huge grain of salt. Evan Longoria, when he was healthy, he was a very strong player. Brandon Belt, one of the best hitters in the league. I'm going to say Crawford. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I think he has the highest. I think he set the highest bar out of the 3. But, I mean, he had a huge resurgence last year. The Giants got something going on over there. They found the fountain of youth in San Francisco.
It is a country for old men.
Yeah, it's at Alcatraz.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Brandon Crawford for that answer. My question: buy or sell Logan Webb as a Cy Young finalist?
Cy Young finalist.
He finishes top 3.
Top 3. It's interesting because there are a lot of good, especially at the NL. Maybe if he was in the AL, I would really, really consider it. But NL, there's so many good candidates. You have, DeGrom, Scherzer, Burns, Wheeler. Mm-hmm. Even guys like
who else you
Bueller.
Got? Logan Webb.
You got Logan Webb.
Yeah.
Logan Webb. Yeah. I was looking at his stats.
He's that dude.
He had a 2.72 FIP last season, and I don't know. There's something the contrarian in myself loves to go against guys with a lot of momentum heading into the season, which because it's I do want to see him kind of become a Cy Young finalist. He is that guy, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. He also has a negative launch angle against, or at least close to it.
Yeah.
With Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt behind him, who are top defenders.
Yeah, and he absolutely just, as I mentioned, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, just undressed the Dodgers lineup twice in the postseason. And he's going to lead that Giants rotation. I think he'll eat up a lot of innings, and he'll be a Cy Young finalist.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, he absolutely will.
I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever, fine. Whatever, world. So yeah, good way to wrap up the episode with my enthusiasm.
Yeah. We started this episode at 11. It is now 9:04.
Yeah. Yeah, quite a bit of action in the day.
Yeah, we had to cut out so much of the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Lots of editing. Lots of editing going on. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed this one. Another long one, making up for the lack of activity during the lockout.
Mm-hmm.
But another long one for everyone. We hope you enjoyed this one.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next week, whenever that may be, where we're going to be previewing the American League and National League East divisions. Mm-hmm. We will see you then.